G'day guys, Felix Lay here. Today I just want to talk about how persistence has helped me personally in achieving what I've achieved today, or in earning or receiving or obtaining money that I wouldn't have received or I wouldn't have gotten if I've given up or if I did not persist. I'm gonna share a few stories that I remember clearly of how persistence has helped me. But before that, let me just quickly tell you guys or share you guys a story that has inspired me personally. Most of you would have known Thomas Alva Edison has invented, or he invented light bulb, right? But do you know his childhood, or do you know how many times he actually failed before he actually found the right way to actually get a light bulb light? So Thomas Alva Edison, he was actually a when he was a kid, or he was a teenage age until his college period, he did not amount much. Alva Edison pretty much had a simple dream, that is simply to become a teacher. He likes to teach, but then he was being told by his teachers in school or in college that he did not amount to anything. So he was told that he can't go far. So imagine if he would have given up when he listened to other people's stories, or listen to other people's opinion about himself. Opinion is too cheap these days. Everyone can give you opinions. That is why if you think too much about what other people say or do, you just waste your time or your energy on managing or feeling around that. But why not focus your energy on something useful? And that is exactly what Thomas Alva Edison have done. And before he invented the right way, or the right way to actually invent a light bulb, he went through 10,000 times of failure. Can you imagine 10,000 times? Most people gave up after first attempt or after second attempt, or if they are lucky, or if they are really persistent enough, they probably gave up on the 10th attempt maybe. But Thomas Alva Edison found 10,000 different ways of failure, of wrong combinations to make light bulb. And at the end, after 10,000 attempts, he finally found the right recipe. I want you guys to think for a moment how many part of areas in your life that you can see that aren't as what you have expected. Have you actually attempted? Have you actually persisted like what Thomas have done? So if you haven't, introspect. You know, take a self, take a deep think of how your life, or what your current result is, because your circumstances right now is purely a reflection of what you have done. So cause and effect. Yeah, cause is big because of what you have done previously up till now. The effect is what you have achieved right now. A lot of people have that mentality, or have that attitude of, I deserve to be rich. I deserve to be to live well. This mentality or attitude will just get people to justify themselves by blaming other people. When things doesn't appear to be right, then it says, I deserve to live happy, but because of other people, I'm not happy. But if you think about it, is the result of what you have right now is actually a result of your thinking. When you look at a particular thing, successful people, you could have two different or many different perspectives when you look at the situations. Successful people might look at one failure as, it is another kick. I found a way that this doesn't work. Let me tweak it a little bit and let us make it work. They look at it as a challenge and then find a way to make it work instead of finding excuses or blaming other people. My personal story in persistence. This was back in I think 7 years ago. We were purchasing a property from our own family, so there was some sort of transferring of name involved. And what happened was we have paid for the stamp duty. Government has collected the stamp duty from us, but then we have to cancel that transaction because we have found another purchaser that would have purchased that for a better price. Short story, we thought we would have claimed the stamp duty that we have paid because the transaction is pretty much voided. It is not a legally, it is not settled, so the property is still in my family's my other family's name. But what happened was the government has decided not to pay us out. They simply give us a rule, all this law worded thing that once the stamp duty is being paid, you cannot claim it back. For me personally, I find it ridiculous, and I've consulted with my lawyers, solicitors, and they've given up. They've actually says that there is no more ways that we can think of how we can get it back. And I said, please help me. I do need this back because it is a lot of money involved. And they actually said, okay, how about if we go to the higher person than solicitor? They went to barrister. Okay, barrister then drafted a letter, a simply like a one-page letter. It cost me $500, and that has resulted in nothing. So after going back and forth for a lot of times, it took us almost 11 months, almost a year to get it resolved. And at the end, my solicitor just says, you know what? There's probably nothing we can do anymore. But it's simply, for me, I just simply thought for myself, this is money that shouldn't have gone to the government. This is not right. I have to do something. I have to find a way to get that money back. That is my money. That is my family money. That is a money that I can use, for survival back at that stage. Back at those years, those every single dollars is about survival for us. And so what I did is I actually did a lot of things. One of them is actually I wrote an email to some news station, telling them about my story, long story, all this, what happened. By the end of the day, I haven't got any response. So I thought to myself, what else can I do? I keep ringing the government body up. I kept telling them, I keep asking, and I told them that I am just simply asking for your kindness. I told them that I did admit, okay, this was some errors, or this was some mistakes that I have missed, or some oversight that I missed that I did not know. That once I've paid, that stamp duty is gonna be gone. So they told me just write a letter and then see how it goes. So I did write a letter. I did write a long letter telling them, explaining to them all the whole situations, and also requesting them, like if if my solicitors couldn't figure a way, because we are running out of ways and we have spent a lot of money to get those money back. And I'm simply asking for some common sense and so for some kindness from the government's side. And at the end, short story, yes, we have gotten it back to our account, and I'm just grateful for that. And there is a lesson to learn, even though it is a long journey, but it has taught me one thing. It is, I think from my memory, is around 11 to 13 grand. So 11 grand worth of money could have gone, or could have just disappeared into thin air. Now 11 grand is a lot of money. If you think about it, it's probably like, say, a quarter of a year's salary, yeah, for some people. And the other story that recently happened to me is a couple of months ago before I quit my job. We had a bonus pay cycle for every employee, so you have to work for full year. Actually, not for full year. That is how employer ripping people off. You have to work for 1 year and 3 months to be eligible, or to actually qualify for your bonuses. And back then, I only worked my period less than a year. Actually, I worked for 11 months before I quit my job full time. And I simply asked my boss whether I could, just get compensated based on the period that I've done, because I am doing new ventures in my business, and I need, every single money or every single dollars will count or will be really helpful. And to my surprise, I keep asking them, and they said, "Oh yeah, we'll talk to the higher manager, above level managers." I saw no movement. I saw no movement at all in terms of that discussion. So what I did is I went straight to the higher management. I sent an emails to her. I said, "Let's, if we could, let's get together and talk." And to my surprise, she replied and she said that let's talk. Let's arrange a time, and we want to hear about your story. Long story short, I didn't end up meeting with her, but instead I'm grateful that I have my team leader that was helping me. And at the end of the day, I was surprised. I got a letter from my employers that I was paid a very good sum of bonuses, where I know that some other people in my team have actually left a few months after myself, but they did not get paid. They simply did not ask. When you hear people say ask and you shall receive, a lot of people simply did not ask, or even if they ask, they simply try and then they simply gave up, not persisting enough. There's a lot of story about persistence that I could talk about in my life. Same with business. There is no straight line in business. If you think that business is all about, okay, this is the right way to go, this is the right traffic to get, let me get the traffic and I'll get sign up. It doesn't work that way. It's a lot of trials and errors. A lot of successful people, the way they succeed or why they succeed is because they have gone through so many failure, or what I shouldn't call it failures, but I should call it as a learning lesson or a falling lesson. And the most important thing is for you to get back up and for you to learn from those mistakes. That is why when successful people fail suddenly or went bankrupt suddenly, they get back up quite quickly because they already learned all the tips and tricks, all the corners or all the shortcuts that they need to know. So for you, I'm not saying that it will take years for you to achieve success. It takes is your decision. I wish when I first started, when I was young, I wish I knew that it is a matter of decision, knowing that I am good. I am just a masterpiece that I can do anything else. Age does not restrict on what you can achieve, or gender does not restrict on what you can achieve. Or even in my previous video, I've talked about how my language, it should be a barriers for me, it should be a roadblocks for me, but I do not look at it as a barriers. I simply focus on what I want to achieve. And now people in my team, people coming from English speaking background, non-English speaking background, it doesn't really matter. People see that I deliver value and they follow me. Same goes for you. I do not know whether you are a leader right now or whether you are a timid person right now, you're a shy person. You can simply change how you look at things. I'm not saying that you have to be outgoing to be successful. If you come into my personal life, you know that most of my friends know that I am not an outgoing or outspoken person. I'm still an introvert person. I'm simply making sure every times in my life I live my life. I give value. I think less of what other people think about me. I focus on what I really want, how I really can help my family, can help other people, can help other friends in my surroundings to be successful, to give value. So at the end of the day, taking action, implementing what you have learned is the most important things. But as you go along, if you have hit roadblocks or if you hit some, falling or failures, get back up. Look at it as a learning experience that you can share with other people. That is what life is all about. Sharing story so other people can learn and get inspired from your story. So I truly hope today my story has inspired you in some way and have pushed you to get over the fence and start taking action. So have a blessed day, guys, and take care. See you guys next time. Bye bye.